Being attacked is a sign that you are important enough to be a target. You should relish the attention and the chance to prove yourself.
If everything is easy in life, if everyone loves what you're going to do, and you have no enemies, you have no opposition, nothing to resist, you're just going to be mush. You're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to be able to push yourself. You're not going to be able to change, evolve. Muhammad Ali said, if I didn't have Joe Frazier around, I would not have become the great boxer that I am. A nemesis like Joe Frazier put me on a much higher level.
You grow in proportion to the weight you take on voluntarily. And it's also true that we have no idea what the upper limit to that is, right? So, you know, you've met remarkable people in your life. People can do remarkable things. And there are inevitably people who took on remarkable burdens. And because they did that, their development was forced by necessity. They were forced by necessity to grow beyond what they were. And who knows what the limit to that is?
If I'm running on a treadmill and I get to mile 9 and I get complete cramp in one of my legs, and I know I've told myself I'm going to run 10 kilometers today, he goes, I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience, and I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching. It would modify my self-story. The commitments we keep to ourselves and what we do when no one's watching is the most persuasive evidence that governs everything we then do every day thereafter.
A negative mind will find any way to make the world fit his priors.
Right.
So if you go into a situation adamant that that you are unlovable, unwanted, broken, flawed, insufficient, you will manage to warp reality to be able to fit what you already believe.
We have this ability, that's the reality. Or they made bigger investments in their personal development. Going down this path of becoming successful, whether it's an entrepreneur, or anything else, an athlete, a musician, you're going to have negativity, all right? You're going to have negativity from a bunch of different, and because you don't understand how difficult it is, you are going to feel like the resistance that is natural for everybody is actually negative, when in reality, it's just the path.
What has been a lesson you wish you learned earlier in life?
Being unapologetically honest with what you want. And that goes across the board. I was trying to think of something that kind of across the board. If you can communicate your truth and not worry so much about how somebody's going to react to what you say. Because a lot of times the fear of how somebody's going to react to what you really want to say is what stops you from saying it sometimes, and you find another way, or you put it off, or you don't say it, and then maybe the situation doesn't change, and you get frustrated and upset with why this thing doesn't change, because you kind of maybe might not have said it the way you wanted to say it, and I think there's a way to be unapologetically and still be respectful.
Whatever happens to you when you tell the truth is the best thing that could happen, no matter how it looks to you. An investment in that matter.
If you think about, like, people understand video games. So it's like if you're playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of, like, they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like, you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like, etc. All right, cool, that's the character. And that's the person who's gonna be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right, so all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient.
That's right.
And so, to the point that you made about, like, these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
I think what you were bringing up with Joey is a real good point, that now if you decide I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it.
One of the most brilliant things that was ever said to me by an extremely skilled psychoanalyst is so simple and yet I do think it's the most fundamental thing to understanding oneself is that it's all internal, right? If you finish a marathon in first place, no one comes along and drips dopamine in your ear. You self-generate that. It's all internal. It's all about your internal representation. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't good and bad events in life, but the fact of the matter is that if you set the next milestone as just outside the distance of what you're comfortable with, and you make it there, if you allow yourself a moment to register that win, you get energy to then set the next milestone and achieve it.
So what do? We take the negativity, the doubt, the frustration, the fear, the anger, all of that. My mind's lying to me, I am going to win. And so what you do is the minute you have a twinge of this negativity, whether it be actual negativity or whether it just be the perceived negativity that you have because the path is hard, you take that and you start to do something productive that is going to bring you closer to your goal.
What I tell people is the best advice that I've ever heard.
Go on the journey by yourself. It is the best journey, man. Leveling up, making more money, losing weight, getting fit, becoming the best version of yourself is the fucking most awesomest journey you will ever go on. But it's a journey that you will probably go on by yourself.
Flaws might be revealed.
You want to know if you're talking about young men that might not have any direction right now? Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you avoid those things that are hard, if you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, and you sit on your couch and eat Doritos, I can tell you this is not a good move. This is not a good move. And you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and then you're gonna win.
Self-confidence is self-trust, and self-confidence is the process of keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So the way we begin to build our self-confidence up is we start setting promises up with ourselves that we keep. And when you begin to stack those promises, when I meet someone who's not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently broken promises they make to themselves. They start a diet, they don't stay with it. They say they're gonna get up at a certain time of day, they don't do it. They say they're gonna make a certain amount of contacts a day in their business, they don't do it. When I meet a confident person, this is someone who trusts themselves. So what I would say to you is absolutely, I can tell you exactly what to do. You need to begin to make promises to yourself, set up the game early where you can keep them, stack that stuff and create momentum. And what happens is you will begin to build a reputation with yourself that you can trust you. And that's what a self-confident person has. That's what you have. That's what you have, is you've built a pattern with you of keeping the promises you make to yourself. That's what self-confidence is.
It's not glamorous. It's lonely. As you start changing, everything around you starts changing. People around you start, like, it's not even fun in the beginning. And so you'd either have to have an incredible amount of hope or a ridiculous amount of inspiration and delusion, or you have to be in so much pain that the alternative to continuing this pain that you're in is to try something different because it's the only thing that might be slightly less painful than what you're doing.
Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you could go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up. No.
Fuck, it's not working. I do this to make them happy. I go there to make that person happy. I do this to keep this person happy. And I find that I've got nothing more to give. My cup is empty, right? The best thing you can do is be a true north. Be you. Shine your light. Know what your core values are. Know what your belief system is. Know what your morals and your character should be. And live by that. And the reason I say be a shining light, because if you're if you're the type of person that has taken on this mission of trying to make everybody happy, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna end up being very disappointed and you're gonna lose yourself and find yourself sad and depressed and anxious because you've just given so much of yourself.
Don't waste your time. Do you know that everybody alive gets exactly the same amount of time? We get all there is. It's what we do with it that makes a difference. Don't waste your life. Set your goals high. Quit thinking about what's wrong. Start thinking what's right. Love a little more, hate a little less. You have no idea what you're capable of doing. Make up your mind today, you're going to figure it out.
I tell kids all the time, if you even have this much savage in you, everything out there right now is for the taking. If you are willing to go out there and grind and work hard, you know, you got these people that don't want to go to work, they want to stay home and work from home and all that. There's going to be a small group of hungry savages out there that are going to run every one of you over, and you can sit home and you can cry and complain about how you didn't get yours and it's because this person had this opportunity that you didn't have. Everything out there is for the taking.
Life is precious and it's beautiful just to wake up in the morning. Before I used to take it all for granted. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. I didn't care about family, friends, relatives, achievements. I didn't care about fuck all. I just didn't care. But now, after going to hell and back, I appreciate fresh air and a glass of water. Gratitude. Smaller things in life. Because when you've lost, you never know what you've really got until it's gone. Yeah. But I've had the opportunity to be shot down and come back. You know, and you really find out who your friends are, who the people are really behind you, who leaves, who jumps off, and everybody just loves a winner. Nobody wants to be around a loser. Nobody wants to be around a man who's lost his mind.